Evangelion is not really about giant robots fighting monsters. It is about two different forms of humanity fighting to inherit the same planet. Billions of years ago, an extraterrestrial civilization known as the First Ancestral Race discovered that its homeworld was doomed. Faced with extinction, they transformed their own existence into the seeds of life and sent them across the galaxy, hoping to survive through entirely new forms of life. There were two kinds of seeds. Those that carried the fruit of life produced creatures that were nearly immortal, capable of incredible regeneration and powered by an almost limitless source of energy. Those that carried the fruit of knowledge produced beings that were mortal and physically weaker, but capable of developing intelligence, technology, and civilization. A being that possessed both fruits would become something comparable to a god. Each seed traveled inside an enormous sphere known as a moon. It was also accompanied by a spear of Longinus, a security system capable of immobilizing the seed if something went wrong. Each planet was supposed to receive only one seed, but Earth received two. Adam arrived first, inside the white moon. Adam carried the fruit of life and was supposed to populate the planet with his descendants, the angels. Then, around 4 billion years ago, the black moon carrying Lilith accidentally crashed into Earth. That collision became known as the first impact. Lilith's spear was lost during the crash. Because two seeds could not remain active on the same planet, Adam's spear of Longinus activated and immobilized its own seed. Lilith remained free, and from her came all terrestrial life, including humanity. The humans born from Lilith are known as the Lilin. The angels inherited life, humanity inherited knowledge. Much later, Seeley discovered this hidden history through the secret Dead Sea Scrolls. These ancient texts contained information about the seeds, the spears, and the events that would unfold once the angels awakened. In the year 2000, Seeley funded a contact experiment involving Adam in Antarctica. During the experiment, Adam awakened and began to expand. The scientists attempted to seal him again using the Spear of Longinus, but they failed. To prevent Adam from wiping out all life descended from Lilith and replacing it with his own offspring, they deliberately caused his S2 engine to overload. Adam's body was destroyed, and the resulting explosion triggered a global catastrophe that eventually caused the deaths of roughly half of the human population. That was the second impact. Adam's remains were later recovered in the form of an embryo. His soul, meanwhile, was placed inside Kaworu Nagisa, the 17th and final angel. 15 years later, the angels began attacking Tokyo 3, but not all of them were pursuing exactly the same goal. Some attempted to reach Lilith in order to destroy terrestrial life and reset the planet. Others were searching for their progenitor, Adam. To fight them, Sela funded Gehirn, the organization that would eventually become Nerve under the command of Gendo Ikari. There, they began developing the Evangelions. But the Evas are not robots. They are living, organic beings restrained inside armor designed to control and limit their movement. Most of them were created from Adam, but Evangelion Unit 01 was created from Lilith and contains the soul of Yui Ikari, Shinji's mother. During the battle against Zeruel, Unit 01 devours the angel's S2 engine. By doing so, it obtains the fruit of life. Now possessing both the angel's fruit of life and humanity's fruit of knowledge, Unit 01 becomes a being comparable to a god. While Nerve continues defeating the angels, Sela prepares its true objective, the Human Instrumentality Project. AT fields are not merely defensive barriers. They are also the boundaries that separate individual souls and allow each person to exist as a distinct human being. According to Sela, this separation condemns humanity to loneliness, fear, rejection, and the inability to ever fully understand one another. Their plan is to destroy every AT field, dissolve all human bodies back into LCL, and merge every soul into a single collective existence. That would be the third impact. But Gendo has a plan of his own. He does not intend to follow Seal's version of instrumentality. He wants to control the process so that he can reunite with Yui. To accomplish this, he implants Adam's embryo into his own hand and attempts to merge with Rei Ayanami. Rei was created from Yui's body, but she carries the soul of Lilith. However, Rei rejects Gendo. She absorbs Adam's embryo and returns to Lilith's body. In doing so, she brings Adam and Lilith together within a single entity. Seal then uses the mass production Evangelions, the Spear of Longinus and Unit 01 to complete the ritual. But Rei gives Shinji control over the final outcome. Broken by pain and convinced that human relationships only lead to suffering, Shinji initially accepts a world without individuals. A world where nobody can reject him, where nobody can hurt him. The AT fields disappear, human bodies dissolve into LCL, and the souls of humanity become one. However, Shinji eventually realizes that a world without pain would also be a world without identity, without relationships, and without genuine love. That is why he rejects instrumentality. The collective existence is no longer irreversible. Every soul is given the chance to rebuild its body, as long as that person can imagine themselves as an individual and possesses the will to exist once again. Evangelion ultimately argues that forming relationships with other people will inevitably bring pain, but that a life without that risk would not be truly human. One final clarification. Much of the information surrounding the first ancestral race, the seeds of life, the moons, and the spears of Longinus, is never directly explained in the original television series or in the end of Evangelion. Most of this background comes from the classified information files found in the PlayStation 2 game Neon Genesis Evangelion 2. However, the specific idea that the first ancestral race's planet was doomed and that they transformed their own existence into the seeds of life appears in Kaworu's good ending from the expanded PSP version, Neon Genesis Evangelion 2, Another Cases.